Hello and welcome back to Astral Doorway. My name is Gene, and some of you have noticed throughout my episodes I haven't made a specific video dedicated to just solely talking about how to lucid dream and have asked me to make one. So here it is. For those who don't know, lucid dreaming is where you suddenly realize that you're in a dream and begin to take control of yourself and the dream instead of the dream controlling you. And with just little practice, it is very easy, and I'm going to describe how to do it very simply. The reason I haven't made a video just about lucid dreaming before is because the practice of astral projection naturally leads to lucid dreams. This should be relatively easy to understand if you've watched my previous episodes. I'd probably be a bit of a hypocrite if I said learning lucid dreaming first isn't completely necessary, because when I first started out on all of this many years ago, the first thing I focused on was lucid dreams, which I had hundreds of, filling about 2 or 3 dream journals of lucid experiences. This, of course, naturally helped me a lot when it came to understanding the deeper practice of astral projection. And also, in a way, lucid dreaming is very nice for beginners because there's less of that hardcore spiritual work on the ego to focus on that astral projection usually challenges you with. The fun is in the endless possibilities of your own imagination. In lucid dreaming, you are simply having fun within your own mind. You're still in the matrix, so to speak. You're awake, aware, but you're only awake and aware within your own dreams, not beyond them. But still, it's a fantastic opportunity to become familiar with interacting in such a non physical state while your physical body sleeps. If you want to understand the difference between lucid dreams and astral projection more, then just check out the video on the screen now. Just to give a few examples of my own lucid dreams, I've flown through mountain ranges, moved through buildings across landscapes, moved entire planets across space, shape shifted, participated in literal wars in my own mind, representing my own conflicts in life, and of course, engaged in various conversations with my own subconscious through dream characters. The possibilities are endless, and there's lots of benefits to lucid dreaming. One of the main benefits being, getting to know your own psychology at a deeper level. So, when I started, I only really focused on 3 main things, which can be categorized into 3 simple steps. You may have heard of each step before, but I'm going to explain each one to help you understand why we do them and why they're so effective. And of course, little tips here and there just to help you understand how to do each one. So, number 1, perform reality checks at least 5 times a day. A reality check literally checks and confirms what environment we are in and whether we are dreaming or not. A reality check is to attempt to perform a specific action that is not possible to do while in physical limitation. Dreams are non physical environments, and therefore there is no physical limitation to what you can do. More importantly, performing reality checks trains the mind to get into the habit of questioning whether you are dreaming or not. Try to recall some of your most absurd dreams right now. Perhaps you were having a conversation with a camel while on a roller coaster. Now, think, why did you not realize that it was a dream? You didn't because you haven't trained your mind to tell the difference between waking reality and dreaming reality. What is absurd is not the dream. What is absurd is our inability to discern when we're in a ridiculous dream situation that has no correlation with our physical waking life at all. So, therefore, this is where reality checks come into play. Get into the habit of doing reality checks at least 5 times a day. And especially do them whenever you feel there's something strange going on throughout your daily life. So, here's 4 solid, effective reality checks I'm recommending. These reality checks are based on testing the physical limitation of your environment directly. Reality checks such as reading the time or counting your fingers are not 100% effective or reliable. I don't recommend them. You can easily be in a dream and count 5 fingers and be fooled and think you're awake. If you're going to invest time committing to a reality check, then choose one of these 4 I'm going to list now, from A to D. So, A, jump. You must jump with the intention of flying. You must really believe that you can, in fact, fly. Even if it feels ridiculous to do while you're awake, almost expect that you will, in fact, fly. Don't assume you're in waking life. Remember that in dreams, you always assume you are in waking life. So, really consider. So, if you can jump and you get pulled back down to the ground, then you're awake. But if you don't go back to the ground and you stay floating in the air, then you're obviously in a dream. Flying in dreams is a lot of fun, by the way. It's quite a freeing experience. But just one issue with this reality check is that you can't do it everywhere. For example, if you're at work or in a meeting, people would just, of course, ask, "What in the world are you doing?" So, reality check B is put your finger through the palm of your hand. This one is a lot more discreet and you can do it anywhere. So simply attempt to push one of your index fingers through the palm of your other hand. If it passes through successfully, then you're in a dream. If it doesn't, then you're awake. Again, do this with conviction and real consideration that you could really be dreaming. Reality check C is similar. Try to extend one of your fingers. That's it. If you can stretch one of your fingers and elongate it, then you're in a dream. If not, then you're awake in your usual physical life environment. And D, my most favorite and all time used one, is the hold nose reality check. I've spoken about this one before. It involves pinching your nostrils shut and then trying to inhale through your nose. If you can breathe through your nose while it's closed, you're in a dream. If not, then you're awake. Unfortunately, I've been using this one less because of COVID and having to wear a mask in various situations. Regardless, it's proved extremely effective for me personally, and it's quite a strange sensation every time to be able to breathe whilst holding your nose shut. This video is all timestamped below, by the way, if you ever want to come back to any of the main steps or these reality checks. So, all of these reality checks test the boundaries of physical limitation, and generally, you should choose one main one to commit to so that your body and mind can get into the habit of doing it all the time. Once you're successful with one, then that's probably the one you're going to stick with for the rest of your life. Then, of course, you can also use one of the others depending on what's more suitable during daily life situations you're in. Whichever reality check you do, you can also mentally ask yourself, am I dreaming? Don't answer the question back to yourself with your intellect, but use your senses and really look around your environment for at least a good 30 seconds. Really questioning and being skeptical of where you are and why you're doing whatever you're doing. Even if you're in a really mundane, average situation that you always do every day, always question your reality. Now, I'm not exaggerating when I say if you commit to just seriously questioning your reality and doing reality checks, this is enough to experience a lucid dream quite quickly, too. As many studies by psychologists clearly state, we dream about what we do during the day. Therefore, if you do enough reality checks during the day, you will absolutely eventually find yourself doing them in your dreams too. So, that's the significance of step one, reality checks. But of course, we want to raise our chances as much as possible, right? So, let's combine this with step two, affirmations. These affirmations are a set of words that we emotionally affirm to ourselves deeply. We say this within the depths of our minds in order to believe with conviction that they will happen. We say these before sleep or as we're drifting off to sleep. Here are a set you can choose from. Use one or as many as you like. You'll get the point. They're listed on the screen now. I will lucid dream in my sleep. I will realize that I am dreaming. I am dreaming. I always know when I am dreaming. I will be awake in my dreams. I will lucid dream tonight. I am fully aware during my dreams. Saying these mentally as you sleep and believing in them creates a sort of subconscious motivation, a subconscious energy that will convince your mind to make you aware during your dreams. At the very least, it will at least remind you to do a reality check. That will, of course, lead you to lucidity. So, the more you focus, the more you remember about your desire to lucid dream, and the more you really believe that it will happen, the more likely that it will. You know, don't underestimate the power of this sort of self convincing. And not just self convincing, but also sending power to your subconscious to awaken this mantra, this affirmation in action. During the day in waking life, you spend time and energy planning ahead for special events, right? For example, you may have a presentation to give, so then you begin thinking about it, practicing and visualizing and believing what and how you're going to deliver that presentation. All of this work and effort trickles down into your subconscious mind, and if you've prepared properly, the presentation will be a breeze because your subconscious is now doing most of the work for you. And so, lucid dreaming is exactly the same. Think of spending time doing affirmations, which you could also call mantras, as investing energy which you'll use automatically later on during sleep. So, it can also be a good idea to sit up straight in a meditative position and spend perhaps 5 up to maybe 10 minutes saying an affirmation. Then lie down and you can continue saying it as you drift off to sleep. This will help you to focus on saying it with better attention and intention rather than just doing it mechanically and unconsciously, right? Now, it is possible to go straight into a lucid dream when you first sleep. However, it's far more likely that it will happen during the stages of a REM sleep. REM means rapid eye movement, which is the stage of sleep where you dream the most vividly. It can differ between people and situations, but it typically happens or heightens anywhere between 4 to 6 hours of sleep. And so, step three is wake back to bed. And it's a popular practice in lucid dreaming teachings because it's just so effective. Wake back to bed means to set an alarm before sleep to wake up in the middle of the night. You stay awake for a little bit and then go back to sleep with the affirmations and intention of lucid dreaming. You see, when you first go to sleep, our consciousness enters very, very deep states within our psyche in order to revitalize and balance us. And so it is more challenging to remember to become lucid or become conscious during dreams in that time. However, as our sleep cycle continues through the night, our consciousness slowly becomes more balanced and gradually begins to rise to the surface. And since our awareness is usually focused on the surface experience of life, this is when we usually remember our dreams. If you see on the screen now, all around here in this location, around 4 to 6 hours of sleep is when we begin to have these more impressionable or memorable dreams. We do dream throughout the night, but this is where it's the most vivid, the most active. And so we can take advantage of this high dream activity window by getting up in the middle of the night. So, in terms of choosing when you're going to get up in the middle of your sleep, how many hours into your sleep you choose to set your alarm may take some experimenting at first. If you're new to this, I'd say wake up around 5 hours and then go back to sleep. If you didn't have a lucid dream, try 4 hours or 6 hours the following days, and then you should start to get a sense for when you dream most vividly. If you are extremely tired when you wake up, it could be a sign that you might be waking up too early. Take into consideration your age too. Generally, younger people need more sleep, so their REM cycles may occur after perhaps 7 hours of sleep. That was certainly the case for me when I started lucid dreaming at 18 years old. Now that I'm older, I find myself having more experiences after just 5 hours of sleep. You will also have to experiment with how long you stay awake in the middle of the night. It's important that you're able to fall back to sleep quickly with ease. Therefore, I'd say to begin with, try staying up for 5 minutes, perhaps go to the bathroom, drink some water. If you can easily fall asleep while saying the affirmations, then it might be a good time for you, and you may be even able to extend the time. And perhaps next time you could stay up for 7, 8, 10 minutes. You could also spend some time doing step two, right? You could get up in the middle of the night, sit up straight, and maybe for 10 minutes in a meditative position, you can recite the mantras, the affirmations. However, if you struggle to fall back to sleep, then you should minimize how long you stay awake during the middle of the night. And you should also wake up earlier too, so that you're more tired, more lethargic, and able to go to sleep easier. For some people, it may even be effective to wake up after only 3 hours of sleep. I've had lucid dreams after 3 hours of sleep too. It's completely possible. Personally, I can usually wake up after around 5 or 6 hours and I stay awake for about 10 minutes. This is my personal timing. With practice, you'll find your own sweet spot. So, to summarize step three simply, set an alarm to wake you up in the middle of the night, get out of bed for a few minutes, sit down somewhere and say the affirmations to yourself for a few minutes. And you can also do a reality check too, and then go back to sleep with the intention of lucid dreaming. You can also continue to say the affirmations as you drift away to your dreams. You should easily be able to fall back to sleep because your body still wants to rest as it hasn't finished its sleep cycle. But paradoxically, by waking up, you boost these REM signals because your body starts to think it's time to wake up. But you've sort of tricked it now because you're basically telling your body, yes, I want to wake up, but not physically. Okay, so those are three very easy to follow practices, and when combined together, make for a very high chance of having frequent lucid dreams. You can even have multiple in one night, every night. Don't doubt yourself. It's simpler than you think. It is possible to even have a lucid dream tonight on your first attempt. However, if you don't, you shouldn't be disheartened. As with anything worth the effort in life, you need patience. And if I had to give a general amount of time to invest in to expect results, as I know some of you will ask, I'd say give it at least 3 weeks until you start to see gradual results, assuming that you are really doing all three steps combined every day. And with that said, also here's a very important tip. Keep a dream journal and write in it every morning. Write down as much detail as possible. You can use an app for that as well, for those who may be lazy with handwriting. And we all have our phones near us these days, right? So, as you do this, make sure you spend at least a couple of minutes every night before sleep reading your experiences back to yourself. This will remind you of your recent dream experiences and re engage those parts of your brain associated with connecting to dreams. These parts of your brain are muscles to be used. Once you start recalling one or two dreams every morning, it's very easy to remember them all the time and in great detail. Everyone dreams every night, even if you don't know it. Check out the video on the screen now if you want to learn more about how to recall dreams in detail, including a powerful mantra that you can use to recall them effectively as soon as you wake up. Which is another little tip. Make sure that remembering to recall your dreams is the very first thing you do as soon as you wake up. Okay, so there are many other techniques for lucid dreaming, but if you're new to this, I recommend taking it slow and simple. If you're still hungry for cramming your brain with excess information, I will provide some useful links and book recommendations below, as well as a couple of dream journal apps where you can type or voice record your experiences. They also have built in reminders to do reality checks. And also, if you have some techniques of your own to share or want to share your experiences, please let everyone know in the comments below. A quick shout out to Charles, L2K, Sam, Marco, Yesus, and Katie, who have all joined the Astral Doorway Patreon group and are part of the Discord group where we engage in meaningful conversations about all things spiritual. If you'd like to join and in doing so support the channel, the link is in the description below. My name is Gene Hart, and I'll see you in your lucid dreams.